All right then, thank you very much for coming along, Lauren. It's lovely to have you on the show. We better do a little and all that. So for anybody that doesn't know, this is Lauren Garner. We don't do the Prof Doc together anymore, do we?
No more, no.
I'm so jealous, I'll be honest. But yeah, Loz, we met at Liverpool John Moores, and I'll let her introduce herself properly because she knows what she's on about, man.
Yeah, so we met on the Prof Doc. I've recently just finished, finally, 5 years in the making. It was some journey. It was a great journey, but it was a long journey.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Do you want the long version?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The unfiltered version.
So I think my journey into sport started on the Masters.
Okay.
So I didn't actually go into the Masters with the mindset of I want to work in sport.
Okay.
I was a personal trainer at the time, and I wanted to go and do the Masters at John Moores to better understand certain concepts to help my client at the time. So things like concepts like motivation for a better, healthier lifestyle, confidence for going to the gym, motivation to eat healthier and adhere to a better lifestyle, really. So I wanted to do it from that angle, and then 2020 hit. COVID.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah, that feels like so long ago.
I hate that.
And then I was still on the Masters, and so I did it over 2 years rather than one because I was working and I was self-employed. And then when COVID hit, sport kind of carried on a little bit for a bit longer. Like all of the gyms shut down, so I couldn't be doing bits online. But ended up on a sport placement as part of the Masters.
Okay.
So I ended up going into an MMA club in Liverpool.
Oh no.
No, so this one is not far off.
Okay, yeah.
It's called.
Okay.
For a little while, just mostly observing at that point. Like, didn't really know anything about like sport.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, I say I didn't know anything about sport. Didn't know anything about like MMA other than I like watching the UFC, but other than that,
Ed Bastian I'm all for, but don't really know.
Didn't know the ins and outs of it. Very new, going in, very very naive to the world of sport, and just fell in love with it.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing. Eventually, it did go online because COVID got worse. But it was a different kettle of fish, like different mindsets, different people. I was just fascinated.
And you loved
by
it all,
I was really captured by it. So I just thought, wow, this is unreal. Like I want to stay in this. So it was actually while COVID was a really difficult period for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
It was actually like this big transition.
Turn to like
over.
Think, doesn't it? And take stock of stuff like what you do and you can guess.
So I started there, and then finished the Masters and came straight onto the Prof Doc. Got chatting to a couple of the lecturers who helped me get a placement in rugby.
Okay, yeah.
So my first big placement, if you like, on the Prof Doc was in men's championship level rugby.
Okay, decent.
Not long after that, I picked up another placement, which was women's Super League rugby at the same time. And then not long after that, I picked up a third placement that was in like junior rowing. And they were a good rowing club. Like they're 16 to 18s who were working towards like GB trial. So that was really good. I was doing those 3 placements at that time. And then about a year into the Prof Doc, that's when I moved into football. At that point, then the job came up, went for it, got the job at academy football.
Is football your first sport? No.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. Born and raised in a football family.
You were red in it rather than the blue. Yeah.
Born and
not
bred
Tranmere,
no. The blue, I think my dad had kicked me out there. I'm not gonna lie.
Not in this house.
And certainly not Man United.
Yeah, that's even worse.
I think he'd rather have supported Everton than Man United.
That's a song. I'd rather be a toffee than see you next Thursday. Anyway.
Went into academy football. Spent a few years in academy, like 2.5 years in one, about 10 months in another, and then into the journey into first team football. And then sort of in between all of that going on, just little bits of private work. So I did a bit of consultancy where I was working with a couple of gymnasts, I've worked with female footballers on the side, I've worked with divers, and I think the craziest experience I've had as a sports psychologist was I had a 1 month contract with an esports team.
Oh, mad.
But they were Russian.
What?
So that was a challenge.
I hate that.
Yeah, the language barrier was they spoke English, but very broken English. So we'd speak in English, but then any sort of like texted or typed communication through, they use Discord and like for team chat, I'd have to go into Google, type it into translate English to Russian, and then copy and paste
I
it.
bet that wasn't frustrating at all.
No, so they could speak English, but they couldn't read it.
Yes,
so all of like the online stuff that we did was spoken in English, but again, it was a bit like pulling teeth sometimes. But anything that was typed and any sort of like resources, I had to translate to Russian.
Long.
And then when they sent it back, I had to translate the Russian into English.
But that was half your job, Rory, is translating. So what game did they play?
Was it League of Legends or Dota? One of those two. Yeah, I can't remember. I think it might have been Dota. I'm sure it was. I think I'm getting a bit mixed up because I was reading a paper on League of Legends, and I think they were in Dota, and they're quite similar.
Okay, yeah.
Still don't really understand much about Dota. Essentially, I think it's you land in a map, and you've got to take lanes.
Right.
But if your team goes and takes like one lane, and then the opposing team are taking another lane, and you're losing that, a lot of the work was, do you stay composed and stay here and stay to your tactics, or do you rush over there and try and fight them?
So I was just about to say, I can't imagine that's psychologically taxing. But when you put it like that, it's a game, isn't it? There's gonna be decisions to make, and
a lot of So a lot of the work we did in that month was around like managing emotions. Communication was a big one, trusting each other, because you could have a divide in the team where, you know, one person thinks no, we should stay here, and the other person thinks but we're losing that. And it was managing that. It's very tactical. It's very taxing mentally and emotionally, because on top of that, there's big money in the sport. Big money. Some of these championships that they go to out in like Saudi, like first prize like 10 mil.
Is it?
I literally used to think to myself, have you seen that meme where it's like the clown looking in the mirror putting the makeup on? That was me. I was
on
like,
the screen now.
Me getting ready to go to work every day, and these are playing games.
And these are
earning millions. On games. I've got 5 big brothers. We were raised playing video games. I'm like, why didn't I do that? Why didn't I stick to it? I could have been making...
Mom, you told me to get off, and I good for me. No, I could have made a living. I'd have retired you.
I was livid when I see like money. Like, don't get me wrong, like a lot of esports teams don't make an awful lot of money. Yeah. But like your big
crazy,
top teams, they can make a good living off it.
Fucking hell. So that was in the middle of going to first team football?
Yeah, so while I was at like 2 academy jobs, there wasn't in the academies at the same time. I spent 2.5 years and then 10 months, but through all of that academy journey was when there was all of that. And then when I went, you're over just doing first team football because there's no time for anything else.
Yeah, fair.
Not really.
Yeah, so again, it's a bit of an intrusive one, but I feel like it's one that I always try and touch upon with people, is like, what is your best or proudest moment throughout all of that? I've got 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed that.
I've got 2, yeah, for different reasons.
Yeah, go on.
So I'll give the performance one first.
Yeah, okay.
So it's got to be going to Wembley and being promoted to the Premier League.
Yeah.
And experiencing that.
Hell.
Not even just... do you know what's mad, actually? It wasn't going to Wembley and winning that final. That was amazing. That was an amazing day for many reasons.
It's the best way to win as well, isn't it?
At Wembley, the pinnacle of it all. That was amazing, but it was the way it happened. But I'll take a few steps back, to be fair. So the whole playoff campaign was unbelievable. That whole Till the End campaign was just...
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was like the slogan, Till the End, and it was a movement. It was felt in the club. The fans got around it, you know, the club sponsors got around it, and that was probably one of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed. And I didn't have any play in that. That was the media team who came up with that, and I just thought that is genius.
Brings people together.
100%. It's togetherness, it's connection, and one of the best things I've ever heard was people want to play a meaningful part in something meaningful. It gave the players meaning, it gave the staff meaning, it gave the fans meaning, it gave everyone meaning. Everyone felt like they were together. People got tattoos of it, people got it shaved into the back of their heads. There was someone did like an art piece on the beach, and it was the Till the End like picture.
Goosebumps had his
and it was
really
unbelievable, and that was incredible to witness. So that was the start of it. Was just like, this is wow, I've never seen anything like it, and it was unbelievable. Then we had the 2 semi-final games. The second one,
oh god,
Dan Ballard's header.
My god.
And I wasn't actually behind the bench on that game. I used to sit behind the bench for games. I went up into the stands with the fans. So to be there with everyone and see that happen from
if you don't mind, why were you up there? Because when you'd played West Brom, I saw you behind it. So like, how come you were up there for that game?
Just more so for security purposes, for like big games like that. It's just around keeping the numbers to who needs
as
to
little
be
as possible.
in and around the dressing room, in the bench, and it just makes security a lot easier. The less people they've got to manage. So essentially behind that bench was like coaching staff, physios, medical, couple of sports science, anyone who might. I don't need to run on the pitch ever. So
your work's done beforehand, innit, I suppose.
So, it was all around anyone who might need to go on that pitch. They're the people who were down there. But I was quite happy with that.
I was going to say,
I thought it was amazing being up with the fans.
Yeah, we were in hospitality as well then.
So we had season tickets, and it was in like the Premier Concourse part.
So you're living in there as well as witnessing history.
Yeah, and it was cool. Hell. So there was the second Dan Ballard header was just unbelievable.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And then you get to Wembley, and that in itself is that was my first time at Wembley.
Yeah,
I've never been to
talk
Wembley.
to me about that then. So rocking up at Wembley, what does that feel like? What does that look like to you?
Do you know what the best part about that was being able to take my mum into the Wembley Club. So we do hospitality, so you get to experience that. You feel like a bit of a celebrity. It's nice, and you looked after, and the food's good. There's champagne everywhere. They've got like someone playing on drums. They've got high profile people in there. Mum's having a really good time. Mum's rubbing shoulders with some really really high class status people, which was amazing. Her eyes lit up. And then my dad and my uncle were in the stands outside. So essentially where it worked is you got like 2 VIP tickets and 2 regular tickets. So me and my mum obviously took the VIP tickets, and then my dad and my uncle went out into the stands. So the 4 of us were there, and my dad is the biggest football fan you could ever meet. He loves Liverpool, but just football. He'll watch any game. So getting to that was like getting to take them to Wembley and experience that was, and for them to get a little bit of insight into my world in football, a little bit was quite nice.
This is what you do every week.
I wish. I wouldn't mind that VIP every week. True, right? But that was the whole thing behind it. Was I just love that they're experiencing this.
That's nice.
Proud,
isn't it? Like hard work's paid off again. Maybe not performance-wise, but like personally for you, that's a really good like receipt, isn't it? That you go the right way. Yeah, love that.
And then the way the game went, the second goal that won us it, the fact that it was Tommy Watson who did it, because he was leaving at the end of that season, and some fans responded really well to that, other fans responded not so well to it, but I just love the fact that it was him who scored that final goal. What a way to say goodbye.
Finish as well.
Yeah. What a way to say goodbye to the club. What a way to say thank you to the fans and give them that last thing before he left.
That's
was just
one of the only things that
incredible.
no disrespect, or it might be the only thing that people remember him by, you know, oh God, that goal that sent us up, you know what I mean? Obviously there's going to be, you know, littler things that, you know, he's done in a game or whatever, but ultimately, like, that's history, isn't it? That
history.
Is, yeah,
and
there's fucking class.
Building in Sunderland in the town centre where it's got Dan Ballard, and it's like a mural of after he did the header when he's ripped his shirt off and he's running round, and then Tommy Watson's next to it where he's pulled his shirt off at Wembley, and it's got the time of the 2 goals.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, class.
And it's like you are etched in history. No matter what you do now, and I'm sure they'll both go on to have more incredible moments. Like they're 2 fantastic footballers, but they're the things that you're going to think about now.
Yeah,
we'll never can take that away.
I was going to say, and we'll never pay for a pint up in Sunderland, will they?
It was unbelievable. And then, just getting to hold the trophy. That was amazing. The celebrations afterwards.
Yeah, I can imagine that was a bit little.
That was amazing.
We'll have a little party, a little shindig after, shall we? We'll just have a little gathering and that.
Yeah,
But
it was just.
Can you shed any light on what the celebration was like?
It was a private party.
Okay,
It was a private party.
In London or in Sunderland?
In London.
In London.
So we went, everyone went back to the hotel.
Straight out.
Already. Yeah, private party. I won't divulge anything from that. Nothing
No.
bad.
Just private, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to take that away from anybody and share what that looks like, because I think some of the stuff around football it's quite cool that it's quite mysterious.
Yeah, for sure. But it was good.
It was a good time. Really good time. We had good fun. Really nice celebration.
Yeah,
everyone was together.
Yeah.
We all went together. We all left together. It was
till the end.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it was just funny. The next day, you've been through all of that, and even as staff, it's nothing like what the players experience. You know, even as staff, what an amazing experience that was. And then you get up in the hotel the next day, and everyone's like, "Right, see you in 2 months."
Yeah.
And everyone
we go
just
again.
Split.
Yeah, mad.
It was just strange the way, like the day before, they've just gone and won that game at Wembley. We've all gone and celebrated, and then the next day it was like, right, see you when the next season starts. And for some players, it was a permanent goodbye because certain players moved on. Yeah,
I guess that is how it works, isn't it? But in the same breath, like, what else are you going to do? Because other people are already training, they're already getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Yeah, as much as you'd want to bask in it, it's like, back to work now. You know what I mean? Rough, man. So that was you met one of your 2 best moments was Wembley. What was the other one?
So the other one from a more sort of, how do I describe it? I'd say really, really emotionally fulfilling.
Okay.
So with my philosophy, I feel like everyone says this, but my philosophy is around person and performer.
Right, yeah.
You know, ultimately, a lot of people will look at a footballer or an athlete of a different sport and just think athlete. They're still people.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't look. I've never looked at them that way. I've never looked at them and gone footballer. I've always looked at them and gone human being that wears a football kit.
Who plays football?
Yeah. And I always keep that at the forefront of my mind. And with the individuals I work with now, exact same thing. You know, and I've always looked at it that way. And this was when I was back in an academy situation, the first academy that I worked in, where we had a young player who was just having a lot of life struggles at the time. You know, we had scholarship decisions coming up, so there's a lot of like performance stress there. Am I going to get a scholarship? Am I going to get retained? Am I going to get released? But a lot of personal stuff going on in the background, and it was really
a lot of decisions as well, I imagine,
yeah.
around that time. Yeah, rough,
yeah,
man.
and he was just having a bit of a rough go, and for someone so young as well to have so many hardships, you know, it was quite challenging. So we did a big wraparound support. I was involved, player care were involved, education, coaches. There was support away from with the players' school. That's what education liaised in, and I think we did really, really well by that person. I think we looked after him. The feedback from him and his mum was fantastic.
Nice.
And you just know that, you know, irrespective of the sport, you know you've helped the person, and you've
transcend sport
yeah,
though at that point.
You've supported someone through a really, really tough time in their life, and I still keep up with him, funny enough, and he's doing really, really
Good.
well. Yeah, he's still in football, doing really, really well for himself, and he's out in America now.
How is he?
Yeah, playing football out in America, studying. And I just think, I just look at that and think, yeah, we did a good job there. We did a really good job with this one.
Love that. And again, like at that point, you know, you maybe, I don't know if you did or you didn't exactly what they need, but my dad works in pastoral and, you know, has since, you know, I can remember. And he said, like, sometimes kids, they don't want something, they want someone, and those relationships, and someone to just listen and say, it's all right, you know, like it's all, whatever you're thinking or feeling, it's all right, sort of thing. And then, like, once they're understanding of that, it's like, I can actually now go and do that and go to America or whatever that looks like for them. That's fucking certain.
And that is so much of, I find, of my work, is that no matter what sport I work in, no matter, you know, what sport that person is involved in, it's always interesting that I find that so much of the work, particularly like the initial stages, is just spent normalising that person's experience and going, actually, you're a human being, and what you're going through is actually really, really normal, and this is why. So educating them on the brain and how the brain works and why they're having that experience, and really just normalising it and making them feel quite comfortable with the experience that they're having, and then going, okay, right, how are we going to work through this?
Because that's where it comes from, isn't it? It comes from that uncertainty and not knowing, and then once you go, actually, like, everybody, this happens to everyone, it's like, all right then, so now what can I do? Rather than worrying about that, it's like, okay, that's part of me, that's who I am. That's mad. Would you say that's like say that transcends sport? Like, it doesn't matter what sport it is in. Yeah. That's an issue. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's, you know, when you look at things like, this is going off into a different topic now, but let's take mental health, for example. You know, mental health is this thing, isn't it, where everyone feels really alone in their internal struggles and their internal battles until they open up. And then realise, actually, this is really common. This is really, really common. And this is why we have those campaigns, isn't it, around, you know, speak out, talk to someone. And a lot of that talking out normalises it for that person to go, you know, you're really not the only person who goes through it. This is really normal. And because so many people do go through mental health challenges, I think, is it now 1 in 3, 1 in 2?
Something like that,
will at some point in their life go through some sort of mental health related, you know, adversity. It is very, very common, yet we don't talk about it enough, and I don't know why. I think we're chipping away. I think it's getting better in some ways, worse in others, but that's a whole different conversation, isn't it?
No, for sure. And ultimately, like, we're very, very biased over here, but we think that it's just daft, like, especially, and not to pick on football, but like, obviously my experience recently working in there as well, it's like, there's, football itself is behind. I'm not saying, you know, clubs you've worked at, clubs I've worked at, whatever, they're not behind per se. It's the sport. Like, you know, you don't get up and go to the toilet before thinking about it first. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, your behaviour and your psyche and your cognition underpins how you perform on the pitch, how you perform on the court, how you know, what it looks like when you dive off the board. So for that to be, like, undervalued, it's just like, again, it's like, it's easy for us to say in this, you know, very, very jaded position because it's our job, but, like, what are your thoughts on sports like being behind in sport, you know, mainly, I guess, but again, obviously football, if you've got a better, like, insight because you've worked in that more.
I think it varies across sports, but I think it all boils down to clarity of the role, if I'm honest. So I think football, values sports psychology. I think clubs value it, and we're seeing more sports psychology jobs come out in football, both across academies and first teams. So in academies, for anyone who doesn't know, you've got 4 different categories: Cat 1 through 4. Cat 1 is your most resourced, Cat 4 is your lowest resource, and the money varies across the board. If you are at a Cat 1 academy, it's mandated that you have to have a minimum of 1 full-time sports psychologist employed for player support. And then it varies through. I think Cat 2, I don't think it's mandated from what I remember, but I believe that there are a lot of Cat 2 academies that still will have either someone full-time or at least part-time, or a couple of part-time people. And then Cat 3 and Cat 4, there's a lot of like volunteers going in now to get a bit of experience and just offer a little bit of support and get building their CVs. I think when sports psychologists go into clubs, I think there is a value there in people who employ them, clubs that employ them go, we want a sports psychologist, or we want more than one sports psychologist if you're lucky. So there's got to be the value there. We know this is a resource that can help us, but I feel like clubs don't really know what to do with that provision just yet.
I would agree.
And I don't think that's a club problem. I don't think that comes from the club. I think that comes from higher than the club.
Yeah, like a national problem.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
so like when you, so like the EPPP, when you look at an audit, so all clubs get audited. And there's different kinds of audits, but when they get that full audit, it's usually around about every 3 years. When you look at the audit requirements for medical, it's pages and pages and pages and pages of things they have to adhere to and meet and do in terms of their processes. And it's the same across the board until you get to psychology, and it's 4 bullet points. And it's very vague. And
that fucking madness. 4 bullet points for the whole academy.
And it's really vague. It's around just, a psychological provision and education has to be provided. All right, okay. That's very vague and broad. There has to be some sort of profiling done there. Okay, that's very broad. So these points are quite vague, and there's pros and cons to that. It gives practitioners quite a lot of flexibility.
But
however, a lot of practitioners working in academy football are trainees, and most of them are just getting started. So for a lot of trainees, they can look at that and go, I've got all this flexibility and I don't know where to start. There's so much I could do. And then you end up overworking yourself because you're trying to do too much. You're taking on far too big of a
And you're
project.
not doing anything properly either, really, are you?
No, of course. You're just scratching the surface with lots of things. I actually don't think it's a problem with the club. Every academy I've been in and the first team, it's always been a great experience. I've been surrounded by good people who are interested, really see the value in sports psychology. The struggles have kind of been, what do we want to do with this? And there's lots of nuances to that. Time is a big thing. Footballers' days are very, very jam-packed.
Constrained,
so you're working on like time constraints a lot of the time. But then it's kind of looking at it and going, we can make this so big and psychology can be injected into so many areas. What do we want it to look like? And there's that little bit around, what should it look like? Or, can the guidelines be a little bit better? And we're seeing a lot of papers come out at the minute, actually, that are starting to support with that. So we've got the Sports Psychology Canvas paper that came out that was around, here's some guidelines that you might want to follow. And we are seeing little bits come out, but I just think more needs to be done in terms of just from the EPPP. You just need to really review the psychology component of it and actually go, why don't we take these bullet points and give them little sub-bullet points, a provision, an education provision, but it needs to, look like X, Y, and Z, and we're going to afford you some flexibility within that, or just giving people a bit more guidance, because I think you can get a little bit lost in that, and, you can be really, really creative, and, I'm really proud of all of the work that I've done across all of football. As I say, I've always felt like it was valued but not always fully utilised.
That makes sense. And again, that's down to logistics, I imagine.
A lot of things. It's down to logistics. You're thinking, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, but when you think about it realistically, everyone wants a piece of the pie. You've got the psychologist who wants to do loads and loads of stuff, the S&Cs who want to do loads and loads of stuff, medical. Everyone's really passionate about what they want to do, and they want to do as much as they possibly can. So it's kind of got to be divvied up in order of importance and priorities, and there's loads of logistical stuff around that. But as I say, there's also that, you know, what do we want the psychologist to do? Where's the clarity? So I've never looked at it as like an internal club program. As I say, I've always felt like, yeah, this is valued and they want me here. And I've done loads and loads of good work. I've been surrounded by really good people, good coaches, good support staff. But you're kind of thinking, yeah, there's a lot of room where you can do all different things.
Yeah, I would
just think
agree.
it needs to be a bit clearer.
Because again, like you say, if you have them like sub-bullet points, not only does it give the psychs a little bit more, you know, direction and that, but like other people at the club will read that and go, oh well, yeah, like, you know, he doesn't look like he's doing much or whatever, but you know, he's probably working on a systemic level, or rather than on an individual. Like if I'm not in front of, you know, a lad one-on-one, oh well, what you doing then? You know what I mean? And it's like, nah, like there's other, like you say, dimensions basically to a sports psych's job. And again, like if, and not just football, but if all of sport knew like the range of like what a sports psych could do and the levels that they could affect, I think we would be utilised a lot better.
Way
like you're
better.
saying, you know what I mean?
And this is the thing. I think in certain sports, I think the perception of psychology is still one-to-one in a room. Yeah. And it is that, but that's 0.1% of what a sports psychologist can do. And in my current role now that I'm not actually in football anymore, and that for me was just I wanted to build my CV.
Yeah, fair. Another sport.
Another sport, get a bit of experience elsewhere.
Yeah, so it's been what, 5 years now you've been in football? 6 years, something like that?
Four and a half, something like that, yeah.
It's a long time, man.
Yeah, so going into a different sport now, there has been that experience where I'm currently doing one-to-one work, but I'm also doing quite a lot of like system level work and looking at processes, and there is that bottom-up approach of the one-to-one stuff, but also that top-down approach, and I feel like I'm doing both, and we're sort of meeting in the middle.
Okay, yeah, nice.
And also working alongside another psychologist is really nice.
That helps. Yeah, okay,
I'm in a team.
I was going to say, yeah, so as an interdisciplinary team, what's that like? What's that been like?
Really beneficial. So there's like me, there's the lead psychologist. We work together really, really well, but then we also do a lot of like MDT work where we might have like the club doctor in, physio, coaches are massive on it. Okay. So there's lots and lots of different like physiologists, nutrition, everyone sort of
chips in and
really,
rather than it being siloed like it might be in other sports. Yeah.
But again, I think, you know, it's siloed because, again, there's just more education that needs to be done about sports psychology, but also an openness and a curiosity to it. Football's an interesting sport in that there's a lot of mystery around it. It takes a lot to get buy-in. You've just got to take time building the relationships and building trust, because football's an interesting environment where, you know, people come and go quite a lot, and I think that can then negatively impact the trust and the buy-in that people have with you. So you've got to take time building those relationships, whereas going into a new sport that's a little bit more structurally stable, you just get the buy-in from day one. Because I suppose that's more expected of them. And but there's pros and cons to all of it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I had a great experience in football. I don't have a bad word to say. I loved it. Great people, great experiences.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest. That's the most you could ask for. Like,
100%.
Like ideal. Like you say, the experiences that you've had physically, like being there at Wembley, and you know, but then like you say, professionally as well. Like you've sort of hit on areas that you wanted to. Yeah, fair man. Love to see. Maybe contrasting that a little bit then, if you don't mind. Maybe piggybacking off what we've just been talking about. If you don't mind talking about one of like the most difficult times or roughest times that you've had.
Roughest times that I've had. There's definitely been frustrations throughout my career. And I think there's multiple reasons for that. If I'm honest, I think being an early stage trainee, maybe being a bit naive to the realities and sort of thinking, I'm going to go straight in and everyone's going to buy in really, really quick, and I'm going to be able to do all this work, and they're going to be like, go on, Lauren, like, there you go.
How long do you need? How much do you want?
Go on, we've got psych workshop instead.
Walk on.
Lads, you don't need to go up today. And I think like my first placement in rugby was probably my hardest experience because I did go in very rose-tinted glasses, very naive to it. Rugby's a tough environment. I'd say it's quite similar to football in that you've got to build trust, you've got to build buy-in, and you've got to be comfortable with not really doing much for a little while other than just come and watch training, come to games, get to know the people that you're going to support, because psychology in those types of sports, I think people hear the word psychologist and instantly you think mental health. Yeah. And
what's wrong with me?
Yeah. All different flavours of psychology kind of get tarred with the mental health brush. And like I was saying before, I think it's silly that the stigma around mental health, but that's a whole different ball game, and society's working on that, and there's loads of great work to try and chip away at that. But the first piece is educating sports people around, actually, I'm not a mental health specialist, I'm not a clinical psychologist, I'm a performance psychologist. And like you say, it's coming away from that stigma of when you work with a psychologist, something must be wrong. Absolutely not. And we're getting better with that, but I think there was a lot of frustrations in there. I was brand new, I'd been on the prof doc a month and I go into this placement and I'm like, I just want to do loads. And I wasn't able to do anything. At the
classic
time,
beginner characteristic.
At the time I was like thinking like, this coach doesn't like me. I felt like it was personal, and when I look back on it now, I'm like, you had this volunteer, little baby trainee psychologist come in, like really keen and super eager, and probably just looked at me and just gone, you haven't got a clue, mate. And you've got to take time to understand the dynamic massively. And as trainees, like, you'll know yourself, you're keen. You're too keen when you first start. And all
you
of
said
the
about
advice,
saying yes to 3 placements.
You
do that,
I'll do that, I'll do that. And then you're going, this is a lot. But every time a trainee messages me on something like LinkedIn and I'm like, what would your advice be? I'm like, my advice is calm down.
Chill
calm
the fuck out.
down. Just chill out, take your time. You're going to feel like you're doing nothing. There's value, I promise you. Learning the dynamic, learning the culture, a fresh set of eyes. Do not be in a rush to do too much too soon. Just be a quiet observer. Take your first 6 months to just sit and watch, and it's going to feel like you're doing nothing, and you're going to feel really insecure. Excuse me. You're going to feel really insecure because you're in your head going to be thinking, everyone's looking at me thinking, what are you doing on a daily basis? But you got to get comfortable with that. You got to sit with that, and then people will start tapping into you.
But does that feed into the idea of like on the audit, description or whatever? Like if a part of it is, observing the environment, wouldn't that help everybody going, well, that's what Loz is doing today? Or if you say, I'm doing section 4.2 or whatever, if you want to be like that, everyone will go, okay, that makes a bit more sense. Like, I know what she's doing, I know why she's doing it. You know what I mean? Is that too easy, or is that just us? Like,
it's just. I always say, if you don't have clarity, you have confusion. And I think the role in certain sports needs more clarity. The role I'm currently in the sport that I'm in now, super clear. Really concise, I know what I'm doing every single day. All of the people around me understand what I'm doing. The buy-in's there, but I think it's just because there's clarity, and the time's been taken to provide that clarity, and it's just different.
It makes sense though, don't it? Because like I've done workshops on like healthy habits, and it's like the what, how, and why. What am I doing? How am I doing it? And why am I doing it? And if you've got that in a role, and everybody's got that within their like position within that, or you're laughing there's got to be synergy at some point if there isn't all the time. You know what I mean?
100%. But I just also think that it's a different environment, the role I'm in now, because I genuinely think like a lot of the time like the money comes into it. To find that like when you've got a sport that's got tons and tons and tons of money in it, like football, I think sometimes you can employ too many staff.
Okay.
And then you've got too many bodies in the building and not enough time to like fully utilise them.
Too many cooks spoil the broth, don't
100%. I would say, like, does hiring more people make your boat go faster, or does it make your boat heavier and sink?
Yes.
And a lot of the time, like, football can look at things and go, we'll get that, and we'll get that, and we'll get that. And it all comes from a place of really good intentions, because ultimately they're looking at it and going, we want to give our players everything, every single resource. We want to provide that, but actually, have they got the time to access all of it? Is there protected time for all of those things? So it's great, and it comes from a place of great intentions, but too much of anything can be a bad thing. And actually, when there's all these resources and people are going, I can't get around all of this, does it just become more of a stress?
There's no clarity.
Does it become more of a stress? Is it, every minute of every day they're doing something with someone?
Is the usefulness in just doing fuck all for a little while? I would agree. I
genuinely think like it all comes from a really good, like, a place of good intentions. We want to give our players everything and give them the best possible chance of success. We want them to have a psychologist. We want them to have a team of nutritionists. We want them to have this. But have they actually got the hours in the day to access all of that?
Sometimes less is more, eh?
Yeah, and actually switch off as well when they go home.
Rather than focus. And again, don't get it twisted. I don't know enough, but I imagine like having everything tracked is quite exhausting. Even your sleep, you can't even get away from it when you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to Kip and I've got to, time how long I'm in REM sleep or how long
it's always being switched on to it. And
which I get, paid a lot of money and,
I'm not a believer in this. You've got to eat, sleep, breathe it every single day. I think you have got to switch off from it. I think you can be an incredible athlete and still have a bit of downtime.
Yeah, they're not
it's
mutually
maximising what you're doing when you're doing it. That doesn't mean you've got to do it every second of every day. And there's going to be a lot of people who disagree with that, which is fine.
You can only speak from your own experience,
100%, yeah. But you think about it with a sports psychology. I love what I do. I am so passionate about being a sports psychologist. But one of the things I noticed when I was especially an early stage trainee, was in my first academy role, my commute was about 1 hour and 20. So I'd stick a sports psychology podcast on in the car, and I'd listen to it, and I'd get to work, and then I was a sports psychologist all day, and then I'd listen to the other half of the podcast driving home, and then I'd have my tea, get a shower, get in bed, and I'd read some sort of sports psychology book. And over time, that just burnt my brain out, because I had my psychologist hat on 24 hours a day for a very long time. And then you're thinking, why am I knackered?
I've been doing that,
because you've not took time to just sit on your arse and watch a bit of Netflix, mate. Like, you constantly like learn, be the psychologist. You got to switch off from it. Like, you imagine that if you are a professional sports person, one who's getting paid a lot of money, depending on the sport that you're in,
you'd feel more obliged to do all that, wouldn't you?
It's the pressure of all of that comes with it. Whereas actually, if you just switch off and you go and play a bit of golf once a week, or
or try to anyway.
I'm not very good. But I think this is why we see like a lot of footballers going and playing golf and stuff, and going and doing different things. You've got to have your separate things, and it's it might not necessarily be a 50-50 split between work and play. But even if it's 90-10, at least 10% of the time, you're just giving your brain time to switch off. And, that might not even necessarily be in going and doing another sport. That might be decorating. If you really like decorating. If you're a weirdo like me, I love decorating and I love building furniture.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Did you like Lego as a kid? Oh, that's it then. That'll be why.
I love Lego. I've got loads of Lego.
Is it? Yeah.
And I love Pokémon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm deep in Pokémon.
What generation's your favourite?
The originals.
Okay, yeah.
The
What is your favourite Pokémon then?
I'm currently playing.
3.
I've got a Switch.
Okay, yeah.
Got a Switch, and they've not long released Pokemon Fire Red, which is like the nostalgic 90s Pokemon. And I'm about halfway through that at the minute.
Yeah, decent.
I
was going to say, what you got at the moment?
Yeah, my goal lineup. So, water Pokemon, I always start off on, so I always choose Squirtle, because Blastoise is one of my favourite water Pokemon.
Okay.
Right, Charizard's not my favourite. My favourite fire Pokemon is Arcanine.
Okay, nice.
Got an Arcanine now,
Nice.
but I evolved that yesterday.
Nice.
Grass
From
Pokemon.
Ponyta? Is it from Ponyta or Arcanine?
No, it's from Growlithe. It's like the little dog one. It's like a fire dog.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm yeah.
You're thinking of the horse.
Yeah, I am.
Grass Pokemon, I'm still like, ooh, what's my goal grass one? I used to love Scyther, but that's
Okay.
bug. It's not grass, it's bug
Yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah.
So I'm in the market for a
Okay.
grass Pokemon at the minute.
Okay.
Electric Pokemon. For now, Jolteon.
Okay, I can.
But then
I'm happy with
you
that.
go and get Zapdos from the
Okay, yeah.
lighthouse things. That's
I'm on it. Yeah,
legendary
yeah.
bird. Fighting Pokemon. I usually have one in my lineup. I've currently got Primeape. He's probably going to get relegated.
Oh,
and I want like, what's it called? Machamp.
Yeah.
I want Machamp. Sick
Nice.
Pokemon. Or like Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan.
Hitmonlee, yeah.
Sick.
But I remember watching that episode of Hitmonlee and I was thinking, I need that one.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
And then like a psychic Pokemon. If you can get your hands on Mewtwo.
Mewtwo, yeah. Psyduck.
Bit dozy, innit?
Yeah.
Just stands there going like, ooh.
Psyduck.
Yeah, what am I doing? Just a bit too confused, isn't he? He's got no clarity.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any good making a decision, would he?
But I do like is it that Alakazam one as well?
Yeah, yeah.
do
Is
like
that the one with the spoons?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on him.
But I think if you've got a good lineup from like, if you've got a good water, a good fire, and a good grass Pokemon, your other three,
they
you
can be
can't
what
go
you want,
far
can't
wrong.
they?
Yeah.
I rate that. But again, like, I think you bang on. I'm very much like that for Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah.
So I don't play online. I'm no good against other people, but against zombies, like, I'll run anything. Like, any round, like, I'm fucking certain of that.
And this is one of the things that I learned probably a little bit later than I should have in the prof doc, was that I got into my last 6 months and I was like, I just want to get it done now. I'm going to go. And I actually found that, by protecting my evenings and playing a bit of Pokemon or like reading, I got into reading fiction. I've never enjoyed fiction whatsoever. And then in the end stages of that prof doc, I started reading fiction, and it was just nice to read something that had nothing to do with psychology.
Do you know what?
And it just, I found that in that last 6 months, actually taking time away from it made me more productive when I was sat at the laptop. Whereas when I was just sat there and my eyes are going and I'm burnt, I'm just not producing quality. I think you've got to, going back to that, we've gone on a tangent, haven't we? But going back to that original point, you've got to be able to switch off, even if it's just 10% of the time, so that when you're on, you're producing quality. It's quality over quantity for me every single time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember. So I worked with a football agency, Harbinger Football, and one of the things that we hold central is that I think it's 40% of Europe's top 5 league footballers 2 years after retiring are bankrupt.
Wow.
And I think 50% have mental health like issues and problems. So we're really trying to like minimise that with our lads. Like that's going nowhere near, hopefully. And one of the things that we keep very central is a video of Rodri. And at the time, he was Ballon d'Or winner. So it's like the best footballer in the world is saying this. And he's basically saying when he was, I think it was Valencia, he was like really young playing in the B team at university. And his dad said, you're not leaving uni. You're going to finish your degree. You're going to get something. Because if you get injured, what are you going to do? Yeah. And he's like, fucking hell, like... can't believe, I'm playing for Valencia, I'm playing against, Messi and fucking and all this. And he's like, I don't I don't care. That's what you're doing. So when he come to then City, I don't know if you know, but he was living in student halls, finishing his degree. And I'm thinking, this brother, he's one of the best, if not the best, footballer in the world.
Student digs.
But he's like, he's focusing on stuff outside of football.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not being funny, there's got to be something in that.
Oh, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't, you can't, I'm not just showing that people and going, oh, Rodri says it. Like, that's one person out of how many footballers, invest in real estate or buy houses or, you know what I mean? Like, it's stuff outside of, and again, like, talk a lot about identity, I've had, like, Meg, the netball, you've got to be a bit more, one of the things that you've just said is really, really resonant. Like, I've found myself thinking, how do I turn off the psych brain?
Yeah.
Or like, how do I make it sit a little bit easier within me? Because when I'm talking to people, and I can see you don't care about what we're saying now, you just want to win this argument. Yeah. In my head, that's the writing reflex. I don't know if you know about it, but it's just when somebody, like, if you believe in something like 3% and I believe in it 80%, you're more likely going to believe in it 80% because I am at that level. You're more likely to match a level. So it's like, you don't care about what you're saying to me. You're just caring about winning this argument, which I know is called this. And I'm thinking about that when I'm in this conversation, and it's like, I just wish I could turn it off. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's nice that you just mentioned it, because I've come to like, it's easier with me now by doing nothing. By switching off and going, I'm going to just have 2 hours not reading a book. Because for ages I used to read and I felt guilty when I wasn't reading literature. You know what I mean?
Yeah, know that feeling.
And I was like, I can't be doing this now. I love reading. Yeah. But I saw it as like a bad, behaviour or bad thing on my part when I wasn't being productive with that. Do you know what I mean? And like, yeah, so I guess a good question, if you don't mind, is like, how, maybe not how do you do it, because you maybe just alluded to that, but how, like, did something click in you? Was it that, bit of writing the doctorate that made you think, I can't carry on like this? Was it like a turning point for that? Yeah,
definitely. Like, I think it was a bit of a build.
Okay.
And I just noticed that I was just knackered.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, just tired all the time, but not even physically tired. So I was still getting up and going to the gym. I'm massive on my gym. I like running. I exercise to some capacity 7 days a week. Whether that's going to the gym, whether it's running, whether it's walking. But I exercise every day. I get some sort of movement in every day. And it wasn't that. It was mentally. I was just. It's so hard to explain, but everything just felt foggy and cloudy, and I was just like, focus on concentration was in the bin. And I was like, what is going on? And it was just overkill. Everything was psychology. It was overkill, and I wasn't switching off. I've spoke about it on other podcasts before, where I might be out at like a theme park, I might be in Alton Towers with my best mate, and I'm stood in the queue for this ride thinking, yeah, but you've got that paper that you need to write, or you've got that paper that you need to read, or you've got that piece of work, and you're like, and then I might be out for like dinner with my family, and I'm clock watching, thinking, I'm not going to get any work done tonight. And you're just guilty. Not present. You're not present. Your mind is somewhere else. And without going on too much of a tangent around like mindfulness and being present, I'm massive on mindfulness. I've practiced it for a really long time, but I got heavier into it in sort of like the last couple of years. And my focus was just, be present when you're with people. Be present, be in that moment with that person, because time is the one currency that when you give it to something, you're never going to give it back. So be wise on where you're spending it was one of the things that I sort of learned. And I was like, if I'm with my best mate, I'm going to be in that moment with my best mate. If I'm with my boyfriend and his daughter, I'm going to be in that moment I'm there with them. If I'm with my mum and my dad, if I'm with my nan and granddad, I'm there. I'm not Lauren the psychologist, I'm Lauren the friend. Lauren the girlfriend, Lauren the daughter, Lauren the granddaughter. I need to be those versions of myself, and part of my identity is Lauren the psychologist, but it's not my whole identity. It's not just what makes me. And I think it was finding more worth in yourself that goes beyond your job and your role. I love my job. I do get a lot of fulfillment and a lot of worth from that. But I also get a lot of worth from spending time with my family and having those moments and spending time with people who are important. So for me, I don't know what it was. I don't know if something just clicked where I was just like, something's got to change. You're just doing too much, Lauren, because I've always been like that. I just get on with it. Just do it. And that, you know, we can dig into my childhood and go down that rabbit hole, but I've got 5 big brothers. I've been raised to be competitive. My dad always says to me, you know, you've always had to keep up with the pack. You know, I'm the youngest and I'm the only girl. Like, it's an uphill battle. That is an uphill battle from there. So I'm used to that. Well. Just keep going, keep fighting for your place. But yeah, I think it comes with age and maturity as well. You know, I'm not ancient by any means, but you know, you get into your 30s and you just start realising things. You know, I was 33 a couple of weeks ago, and I think you just, your 20s are chaos.
Can confirm.
But you know, your 20s are good because you're learning who you are, you're learning your identity, you're getting your independence, you're navigating the world, you're making your mistakes and you're learning from them. It's all lessons. And then you get to your 30s and kind of go, right, what do I want, but what don't I want? It's just as important, isn't it? That? And for me, I don't want to make my job my entire personality. There's just so much more to me. When I'm in work, I would give 150% to every single person that I interact with at work, and you have got my full attention, and Lauren the psychologist is on. But when I'm in the car and I'm driving home, I'm dialing that down and I'm switching
that hat's coming off, sort of thing. That's interesting. Off,
I hang my hat at the door when I leave work, and I go, right, what do I want to do with my evening? What does Lauren the person...
What does Loz want to do?
What does she want to do with her evening? Does she want to go home and walk the dog for an hour? Does she want to read a book that's got nothing to do with psychology? Does she want to go and play on Pokémon? Does she want to sit and watch something on Netflix? And I think, again, this is a whole new, whole different podcast in itself, but I think, like, the whole grind culture in society at the minute, like, get up at 4 a.m. and meditate for 2 hours, and then I journal, and then I have my cold plunge, and then, you know, I drink 8 litres of coffee,
before 7 a.m.
It's just like, it ain't that deep, it ain't that serious. You know, I'm quite happy getting up at like 6:30, go to the gym, get a shower, go to work, and then just chill out for the evening.
Yeah, fairs, man.
And I think, again, it comes over to that quality over quantity. What are you doing with your hours when you need to be in that space of, you know, being a practitioner? But it doesn't have to be 24 hours a day, and I think that goes for whether you're a psychologist, you know, whether you're a sports person, any profession. You got to switch off from it, because too much of anything is always a bad thing.
It's been funny. We're telling people, you need, you know, to shine the light on more parts of your person, and then we do. What the?
Psychologists are the biggest hypocrites going at times, aren't we?
I know.
But I'm getting better at that. Like, one of the things I've been leaning into quite a lot in the last, I'd say, year and a half, 18 months, is embodiment.
Okay.
Embody what you're saying. Not this whole do as I say, not as I do, which parents love to say. Embody it. So a lot of my practice... My what?
Breakfast and practice, I think.
My breakfast. Wow. Leave that in.
Let's go again.
Put my teeth back in. Wow. A lot of my practice is grounded in mindfulness. I practice mindfulness. I embody it. And if I do a live mindfulness practice with somebody, I also take myself through that. So if we're sat in the chairs and I'm, you know, sort of saying, like, I want you to focus on your shoulders and the sensations there, I close my eyes and I do it with them, and I focus on my shoulders. And then I embody that. You know, if I'm talking about broadening an identity and switching off, I now embody that, and I do all of these things. And that's not me saying that my approach is going to work for every person. Yeah. But ultimately, it always comes back to that sort of central piece of my philosophy is they're people. they can't always be the performer. They are a person it's the person who does the performing. The person is the athlete, the human is the athlete.
It's like puppet, isn't it, really? Like the puppet master is the one that's controlling the performer, and the puppet master is the person at the centre of it all.
100%.
Interesting, that is.
You got to have that time to switch off and just, do things that...
It's what makes it worth it, isn't it? Like doing those. I remember, for me, my turning point was a year or so ago. And I went for a Cat 1 role in an academy, and I got to the last 3, and I'd put a lot of effort into the process, obviously doing research on, who was interviewing me, etc. And I was really, fraught. They hadn't got back to me in, 3 weeks, which sometimes means good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was really, really stressed, because then there was this other role that was coming up, and, this guy was really, interested in working together, and I was stressed. And I remember talking to my dad about it, and he's like, listen, it'd be good to have a choice, however stressful it is, it'd be good to have a choice, and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, I see what you're saying, I'm not really convinced. Anyway, this was in our living room. I then went outside, and every Tuesday we have my little cousin come round and we look after him. So I've gone outside, literally just to sit outside, just to breathe, basically decompress. And Leo has run up to me with his arms open, and I was just like, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's why we do it. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm, worrying and all of this stuff. If I don't get it, I don't get it. Yeah. That's the stuff that I really, really enjoy. And we played footy for an hour, which is literally what you've, just alluded to. And after that, I was just like, I don't want to be like that again. Off a job that I haven't even got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't get the job, obviously, but the point was, at that, juncture, it did make me realise, however much, you want to become a sports psych, there's a little bit more to it, do you know what I mean?
More to life, isn't there? It ain't that deep. And I don't know if you saw my Instagram story a few days ago, actually, when I got to work. And I was telling the story on my Instagram. I sound like a full-on influencer here. I don't film myself on my Instagram stories
all the time. She does it all the time. It's horrendous.
Here's my discount code. Do you know what I mean? Sports Psych 10 gets you 10% off. Definitely not like that. Very, very rarely record myself on my story.
No, I can see. Go on now.
But I wanted to share. I just wanted to share this little snippet from my day when I got to work that morning, because I drove to Manchester for work, up the 56. That motorway is hell.
Yeah, no, I do.
Of the best of days, and someone cut me up, but they nearly took the front end of my car off. It was inches away,
shit.
And I slammed on the horn. I called them everything. If anyone listened to my
it was nobody's
footage,
business.
be like,
what? Yeah.
Some mouth on you. And I carried that with me for the rest of the drive, and I was just, I was raging. It was just I was in a mood, and it was only 8:30 in the morning. That could have stayed with me for the rest of the day. And I get into Manchester, and I'm driving this way, and there's a woman walking a dog this way, and we're only in second gear because it's Manchester and Wednesday, not traffic. So we're crawling, and this woman's walking a Labrador, and it was a really nice day out. It was one of those days when we got loads of sun, and this dog's walking into the sun, and the sun's on its face, and it's got its eyes shut, and it looked like it was smiling.
Oh, bless.
And straight away I looked at that dog, and I was like, that dog is just so happy to just be outside with the person it loves more than anything in the world. The sun's on its face, and it's just so appreciative to just be outside on a walk, sun's blasting. And I just looked at that dog and smiled, and straight away my mood went, and I was just like, it's not that serious. It's just not that serious.
I would agree.
At all. Just remember to be more dog, be more present.
Yeah, it is, man. It really is. Yeah, it really is.
Appreciate the small things, be in the moment, be present, and just be happy that the sun's shining, you've got your tunes on in your car, you go into a job that you love.
Could be worse, couldn't it?
Could be worse. Could be so much worse. And it just put so much into perspective for me, where I was just like, do you know what?
Just one little dog, just enjoying the sun as well, man. He ain't got a clue either that he's had that effect.
No, and ever since then, like, I've looked at my dog every night walking her, and she's just buzzing to be out. She's sniffing everything. Yeah. She's playing with sticks. Like, keeps looking at me with this big happy look on her face, and I've just been like, you haven't got a care in the world.
You haven't got a clue, but you haven't got a care.
A clue. You're stupid, biologically dumb, like a little pea-brain dog. But
it's nice though, isn't it, that?
But like the naivety of it, like, so I think that's a bit of a gift. To be
it
honest.
Is, yeah. Like, it well, is, like, yeah.
Humans, we create our own stress,
yeah.
But we can also lift our own stress by doing the things.
For sure. I think it was Dave Todd once. I think I was like second year. And he told, well, not me, but he told us that, like, stress and anxiety comes from yourself. You think yourself stressed, you know what I mean? And at the time, I was like, it's a bit rough. Like, you know, some people can't help it. Yeah, some people, you know, abused or whatever. And, like, obviously, it's the lens and the context of sport. But, like, again, we're not sports people, but it's very easy for you to overthink stuff and, like, think yourself stressed. You know what I mean?
But I think one thing that we fail to realise as well is that if you're a sports person, you know, everything's to a really high standard, you're competitive, you want to be the best at everything. But I think that runs true for anyone who works in professional sport as well. You know, maybe we weren't athletic enough to be an athlete. I certainly wasn't.
Same.
But that doesn't mean I haven't got that type of mindset. I think even if you work in sport, you're a certain type of person, you're a certain type of way, you still have the same high standards, you still want to be the best you can possibly be at what you do. And while I might not be a professional athlete, I want to be the best performance psychologist I can possibly be. But I am also recognising that doesn't need to be 24 hours a day.
No, that's fair. And I think just off the back of that, it's interesting that I've just had this thought of, like, you know, obviously you working in arguably the best football league in the world, like, that's the pinnacle of a lot of people or, you know, footballers' careers, is working and playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So why is it different for you? Why is it different for a coach? Why is it different for a doctor? Like, you're both in the same building, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not, you know. When we were in the Championship, I wanted to be in the Premier League just as much as all of those people, and you know, all of the lads playing the sport, and all of we all wanted to be in the Premier League. We all wanted promotion. We were all striving towards the same thing, because while you might not necessarily be the person on the pitch, you know, kicking the ball and scoring the goals, you're still part of it. It's still you play your part in that achievement. And I just think, you know, you have a similar mindset. You're doing a different role, but
looks different.
The play your part looks different, but the mindset and the standards and the height you hold yourself to, I don't think's any different.
No.
You know, I
there for a reason.
Yeah, I hold myself to a very high standard. No one's a bigger critic of me than me. I hold myself to a really high standard, but I think with experience, age, you know, reflection, I'm just learning to ease off that a little bit with myself, and that doesn't mean that my standards have dropped by any means. I still hold myself to a very, very high standard, but what that looks like now is recognising that it's quality over quantity. Yeah. When my psychologist hat is on, it's on, and it's on firmly, and there's nothing that will blow it off. But when the day's done, it comes off.
It comes off very easy.
You know, and I just have that downtime and separation from it, so that when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'm the best possible version of the psychologist I can be, because I've rested. Whereas if you're always only ever operating on 20% battery, because you're always on.
But all the time.
You know, I'd rather...
No good.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that way you're only going to be 20% of what you could be.
It's like that old adage, isn't it? You can't fill anybody else's water out your glass if you have filled yours up in the first place,
100%.
Isn't it?
The oxygen analogy in it on the plane. Put your own mask on first, otherwise if you pass out, you can't help anyone else.
I'm sorry, I don't get that. Mine will be on first. I'm not helping to put anybody else on. Fuck off.
I'm not.
Women and children. Fuck off.
Give me yours as well, actually.
I need some more.
But it's so true, isn't it? Like, you've got to put yours on first. If you pass out, are you going to help anyone anyway?
You know,
you've always got to look after yourself first, I think, and a lot of people look at that from like a selfish point of view.
Yeah,
I don't.
I would
I
agree.
think it's selfless because again, the better you are, the better you feel within yourself, the more of service you can be to others.
And within that, which might be tough for some people, is giving themselves that.
Yeah,
And maybe being nice to yourself.
And that's a journey and that's a process. I've not perfected it. It is hard. It's really hard. You know, I might be at home sometimes, like doing something that's not work related, but I know there's a paper that I could read on something that I'm doing in work. You know, I know I can do a little bit of research. Yeah, there's always something.
There's always something and again, for people who now don't know, I'm big into golf, and I think it's been one of the most recent, most explicit uses of my conscious thought of that shot did not go how I wanted it to. However, it could have been 4 feet away from me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that and I'll be happy with what's happened.
Yeah.
And then I'll go from there, rather than go, fucking hell, I can't believe I've hit it 20 yards short. Or worst case, I can't believe I've chunked it there. Do you know what I mean?
Still sat on the tee and you've hit the floor.
You've been watching me play, are you? In the bush. But nah, for me, it's that idea, like, what happened has sort of happened.
Yeah.
And you've got to make the most of what, you've done and where you're going. You know what I mean?
You can't change the past, but you can decide what you do with your present. And you can certainly dictate the future. What they say, best way to predict the future is to create it.
Is it? Yeah.
There you go.
I'm going to get that one. Yeah. That's all from me, Loz. Anything else from you? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to get across to people?
No, to be honest, no. Fresh into a new job, so just been focusing on that when I'm there. Yeah. And just focusing on the downtime when I'm not, and it's actually been quite refreshing.
Yeah, good.
To be fair, yeah. Bit more mental capacity for other things that are outside being a sports psychologist, outside the job. There's a lot more room in my life now for Lauren the person.
Yeah, good. We like that. We love that. We love identity over here, man. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll have a chat in a week or two about what's been going on. But yeah, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank